I'm Lindsay and I love talking about Fallout, and I've got a huge Fallout video in the works. New format for the new Dinztopia channel, straight up lore. We're gonna talk about the story of Benny and Mr. House, the events that led up to that classic opening. And y'all, it is so cool, and I have been entirely obsessed with it. I really expected it to be my very next upload, but it keeps getting dragged out. I need that satisfaction, that feeling of closure, of finishing a thing. So I'm stopping to record this because I was like, if I don't get a video online, I'm gonna freak out. I have to let this project take however long it takes. We're gonna get into why. This video is kind of like a behind the scenes, only I'm not gonna talk that much about the technical execution, more like the surrounding life circumstances and the inspirations that led to this video's creation, and why it's become such a beast. And whoever you are who has decided that this behind the scenes was worth your time, thank you. This has been the craziest year. I am stepping out in a big way, and I'm not gonna forget who was here at this very strange time. So why am I in the middle of the Benny House lore video from hell? Let's start with Fallout New Vegas Celebration Weekend. To say that I went into that weekend with a lot on my mind would be understatement of the year. I had just realized that I fit the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, which led to a mini mental breakdown and a brief hospitalization, one of the most traumatizing events of my entire life. Friendships ended. A business relationship that I had bet everything on ended. A 16-year-old pug who could not walk, pee, or poop without my help was very clearly Rainbow Bridge bound. And then a hyperactive 4-year-old pug that was not at all sensitive to any of the other things that I just listed.
Help me! It's the world's cutest alarm clock! It's the world's cutest alarm clock!
My brain was swirling. But New Vegas weekend was happening. Hotel plans were made. Plane tickets were purchased. The very, very cheap, unchangeable kind of plane tickets. Very expensive boarding plans were booked for the doggos. So my brain is swirling. I'm stressing about all of that, making all of these arrangements. One of my very best friends comes over, help me out with the dogs, and she gets very, very sick. And I'm like, shit, I can't get sick with everything else right before this event. And so, we tried to be so careful disinfecting all of the things. You can probably guess where this is going. So the guy I was sharing the hotel room with, I'm just gonna call him my Kiwi friend, because I did not confirm permission. If he gives me permission to put a picture, you will see him very shortly. But my man is from New Zealand. That is fucking far. So he had planned on having buffer time for jet lag. And my autistic ass was like, well, I would like buffer time too. And I also really didn't want to travel to and from the airport by myself. The situation with New Vegas weekend, Good Springs is not close to anything, so how one plans to transport their ass is a thing. So I wanted to be at the airport the same time so that we could travel to and from the airport together, travel as a set. I started to get paranoid that I was going to get sick, so I told my friend, and he was like, oh, well, I literally just got sick, so, I don't know, white blood cells working overtime. He wasn't worried about getting sick. And this might be hard for people who aren't neurodivergent to understand, but I can trick myself into believing I am sick or not sick for a time. I have definitely caught myself on some psychosomatic ass bullshit before. So as the symptoms started to rise, I was like, I could be freaking myself out, but no, y'all, I was sick. I was so fucking sick. And with the buffer time, I basically had a full sick arc of the very beginning of the symptoms to literally peak sick on Saturday, on the main day. And then by the time I got on the goddamn airplane to come back home, it was done and I was fine. I had a VIP pass. I got my swag though. I would grab it, but I am too lazy. Though I did post a picture to this YouTube channel of all of my Fallout stuff, so you can see the mask. It's a fun little picture. But here's the funny thing. I had a freaking amazing time. Spent most of the time geeking out over Fallout stuff with my new Kiwi friend. In fact, he was so tuckered out after the first day, he ended up spending Sunday hanging out with me. I was on the Discord with everybody else who was there, so I could see people posting cool pictures there. But obviously, most importantly, to the point of this whole video, this whole story, I wrote my first draft of the script of the story of Benny and Mr. House. Benny and Mr. House, their whole relationship, it was like all these neurons in my brain just lit up like Christmas tree lights. And I was like, I gotta talk about these glorious bastards! My narcissistic personality disorder epiphany got me really looking into into the nuts and bolts of my own toxic narcissistic patterns, and then it became really interesting to apply that insight on my own self-work into narcissistic fictional characters in general. Oh, we will get to Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 is a goddamn narcissist bonanza. Benny and Mr. House are iconic narcissists. Two totally different styles of narcissist. And the game allows us to see them bounce off of so many different situations. And I was just having a ball gluing all the pieces together. I also bring in the All Roads comic book and Benny's relationship with Swank. I've mentioned how I'm gonna let my fanfiction inspirations take the lead on what aspects of lore that I want to dive into for these videos. I don't post fanfiction anywhere. It's like a fun thing that I do until I have like something really cool to show, and it will be ridiculously overdeveloped, but until it's like going to be a thing like soon, I'm not gonna post anything anywhere. But here's what inspires me. I like writing in open world video game worlds the most because there's already sort of a range of options there. It's like the story already has like a million different options. Why not make up another option? So it's gonna start with like some aspect of the property where I feel like, okay, I really want to know more about this thing. So I make up however many original characters that I feel like I need to develop this aspect of the world. And one of them has to be a masculine lesbian character, because why not? Not always romance stuff, it's not as much as you'd think. And there's going to be neurodivergence. And then the challenge in the fan fiction is to inject these characters, and the only changes that I can make have to be directly caused by my disruptive characters. That's all I can change, is drop in these people, and if anything else about the world is different, it has to be that their presence caused the disruption. It is a very fun challenge, and if I can't tie it together perfect, there's just no point in doing it at all. Two of my original characters for my New Vegas fanfiction, we have a lesbian female Omerta, who is Mackenzie Davis in my head, and we have a Tops lounge singer, who is Ruby Cruz in my head. And I just went ahead and named the character Ruby, because that's an awesome name for a lounge singer at Tops, right? In a nutshell, Ruby is there to piss off Benny, and Smug, the Omerta character, is there to piss off Mr. House. And the courier's just trying to fucking hold shit together, because that's what he does. The courier character, oh man, I think a lot of New Vegas fans will hate me for this. I call him Chris Pine Courier. That's the wisecracking Dungeons and Dragons kind of character. There's also a lot of Owen Wilson from Shanghai Noon in the character. I'm working from the angle that, like, after he survives the gunshot to the head, he's, like, kind of being My Name is Earl about it, and is like, well, now I have to do good in the Mojave because I was spared, you know? And I was like, what a great, like, I'm just having so much fun. I think a lot of New Vegas people will hate what I did with my courier, but I think he's adorable. But between those two characters and the courier, I want to shake up a lot of unresolved Benny House issues. So I celebrated Fallout New Vegas weekend in my hotel room, writing the fuck out of those issues. Did that sentence make sense? And my friend who was sick texted me and was like, I hope you're having a great time and you're not sick. And I was like, oh, I can't tell her. I wanted to wait until I was in front of her again and she could see like my face and my body language when I told her sincerely, I had an amazing time. I regret nothing. I got so much done. I didn't get to meet 1,000 Fallout fans, but you know what? I got to meet one awesome one. Actually, two. There was another cool guy that I met, but if you think about it, 1,000 Fallout fans are just 1,001 Fallout fans. Yeah. And I started playing Dead Money on my Steam Deck, which is perfect because the whole theme is about having to let go. So I had to let go of the fact that I wasn't going to go to Goodsprings or meet Kenneth Vigue or the Nuka Break guy, whose name I'm sure I will remember as soon as I'm not recording, or see Mantis again next year. But that was not the only thing I had to let go of. Remember, we have a 16-year-old floppy pug whose life was going to end very soon. It's crazy. Like at New Year's this year, I was like, this is gonna be his last New Year's. It's just, he couldn't pee or poop or walk. He would howl unless I was right next to him at all times. Some dogs, their mind goes first. Sometimes the body goes first. This time the body went first. However, that did inspire my mascot now for the Dinztopia channel, Cyberpunk 2077, because I used to make all these jokes that dog was gonna live forever because if the parts kept breaking, we could just keep replacing them. And so now I have this adorable Cyberpug concept, and it's the freaking cutest. It's Potato the Cyberpug. He will live on. I spent so much money on dog care because I was gone for so long, but what was I gonna do? Put my dog down and then go to New Vegas Celebration weekend? Just the timing was what it was, and I needed that trip behind me before doing what had to be done. I am grateful that I had a week in that hotel room just to process all of this and turn it into something cool. I mean, not only did it inform the content of what I wanted to make a video about, but also gave me time to think about the space that I want this new format of content to inhabit. This video is like a step out of a content style that has been, well, narcissistic. Basically, instead of exploring my narcissism, I want to explore the narcissism of video game characters. Not just that, but that's like the starting point. And I want to clarify that Dinztopia isn't just going to be lore. The general idea is it's going to be less personal and more about the properties. And a couple projects that have been in development for a long time that I've just never been able to focus on long enough to actually finish. I love ambience videos, so I'm doing a walkthrough of the whole Mojave map. I mean, not the whole map, but virtually the whole map. Not quite 4K, but as big as my monitor goes. I wrote out a route, and I'm just walking that route and recording the footage. No combat, no gunfire sounds, some modifications on the footstep sounds to make them less repetitive and annoying. That video will have a mod list in the description. So far I have recorded up to Novak. And also I recorded an entire Cyberpunk playthrough that I have intended to edit. I would really love to have full playthrough edits working toward the different endings. So far I have only recorded the devil ending because some inside info. That ending requires the least playthrough time, so I figured, oh cool, it'll be the shortest one first, and it is so cool.
Welcome to Night City 2077, a jungle of neon and steel, and I'm fighting to carve out my place in it. I'm V, an ex-counterintelligence agent from the cutthroat world of the Arasaka Corporation. Me and my best friend Jackie are gunning for the top, hungry to be the best mercs in a city that's notorious for grinding down the ambitious. But then, everything changes. A shady fixer pulls us into a high-stakes heist at Konpeki Plaza, a shining beacon in the midst of Night City's decay. This gig, it's a twist of fate, intertwining my destiny with the sprawling empire of Arasaka and the legendary Johnny Silverhand, an obnoxious rocker boy turned terrorist now living as a digital ghost inside my head. As I navigate a path lined with loyalty and rebellion, the layers peel back to reveal the sinister depths of Arasaka and Johnny Silverhand's complex legacy. Strap in. It's going to be a wild ride.
And I already recorded it. I just have to edit it in a not crazy perfectionist way. I need to take some of the ambition out of it and make it a thing that's done. Bother me to finish the Cyberpunk playthrough video. It is so cool. And it was such a cool idea to play with cinematic intention. So I still have the same interests, I'm still interested in the same topics, but couched in a brand where I expose myself a little bit less. I can't say expose myself without thinking. It's not an OnlyFans situation. Vulnerability. You know what I mean. I know you do. I realized that making my own personal trauma healing and socio-political self-awareness journey my career has been a very, very bad idea. It's impossible for me to not take criticism personally when everything I put out there is literally personal.
That was probably pretty dumb, huh?
I mean, Lindsay makes videos, and Lindsay's Fallout are excellently named. My name, Lindsay, is right there, so it sort of sets the tone that these are the places where I'm going to be personal. But Dinztopia, I'm going to take a step back. There's going to be a layer of separation, so I can modulate my relationship with the audience in a more healthy way. And I'll also feel less like a sellout when I have to do filthy, filthy capitalism. I mean, I'll still be posting to the Lindsay accounts as I feel the need to, but they're not going to be the focus anymore. I want people to be introduced to me through the Dinztopia vibe, and then later they can get to know me better if they want to. Dinztopia is the first date. And hopefully I'll be moving the Lindsay accounts off of the surveillance capitalism machine as soon as humanly possible. Follow me on Mastodon. So anyway, I got so excited about this new direction and this new format that I made every ADHD mistake known to man. totally lost control of the scope, furiously put out assets to get ahead without organizing anything properly at all. I'm constantly getting into time agnosia tunnels. I could spend a day on a picture that's only going to be on screen for like 2 seconds. And of course, because it's a new format, I'm constantly changing my mind about how I'm going to do things and redoing shit. I totally misjudged how challenging this change of tone was going to be. I was thinking like, oh, well, it's a video. You make videos, just make videos the way you've been making videos, and then poof, you'll make a video. But it is an entirely different animal. The workflow has to be entirely different. For example, on a Lindsay video, I can constantly cut back to a Lindsay. Or a Lindsay house. Sup, ladies. But for these lore videos, I need full coverage over the entire audio track. That's a lot of coverage. And I can't have the announcer radio voice that I normally have. It's kind of ironic. My real voice is to sound really loud and intense, but people fall asleep to lore videos. So I want to still have enough intonation, not just to be interesting or engaging, but also to communicate better, to tell the story better. I should have variation in tone, but I can't sound like this. Not that I normally sound like that, but I talk loud. It's a thing. And y'all, getting that right level of tone that I'm going for, it is really, really hard for me not vocal fry. I'm kind of mad when people are like, nobody talks like that, it's an affect, like on Loudermilk when he says that. I'm like, I try so hard not to do it, and I can't, and you're telling me that I'm putting it on. That triggers my autistic masking trauma. And also, unlike with the Fallout TV show where I'm limited to the footage of the episodes, with video games, you can do anything! You can do anything! That's why I love it so much. That's why I'm really excited about focusing on this kind of work. But I mean, any kind of picture, any kind of shot, I can load any save of any moment, I can use console commands and turn myself into an invisible god that can walk through walls! Any focal length. Mods, change the textures of things, make people's faces look better, take those stills into AI. I get a really big thrill out of the challenge of taking a game still and using AI not to make it look completely different, but maximize the fidelity and make realistic looking characters that still look like the video game character. How many Benny faces I've worked on. It's a delight, but I could be working on one of these pictures for like 6 hours. You can't live a life this way. I have to figure out how to put limitations on myself and like Pomodoro timer that shit. Be like, you could only work whatever this picture looks like in 30 minutes. Is you gotta stick with it. We can't do this. We can't do this. We have a dog. Also, I don't want these videos to just look cool. I want them to actually be useful, to actually be informative. So if I'm using AI or mods, I'm gonna have citations, little notes in the corner that will say AI generated image, AI augmented image, AI augmented comic book illustration. Not to take some sort of pretentious AI morality stand, because I don't want to be confusing. I'm kind of annoyed when I watch other people's videos and I'm like, well, is this in the game or is it or not, you know? And I don't want it to be distracting, but I want people to rest assured if they want to understand, is this really from the game or is this an embellishment that Lindsay put in to make it look cool? I like the idea that if people are watching my videos, they're going to walk away knowing which is which. I'm also experimenting things with, like, I know people say like and subscribe, but I hate when people say like and subscribe at the beginning of a video. It's like, whoa, dude, slow down, we just met. So I'm like, what if it has a cool, like, ping sound and it looks like Fallout New Vegas notification graphics? It says like and subscribe, but I can think about this stuff and it is fun. I'm having a blast, but I want the video done so bad. And I had to, like, stop and make this and put a pause in the middle of it to get some feeling of satisfaction because it's getting to the point where I'm getting irritable. Like, I'm getting shitty to my friends because this Benny and House video isn't done yet. And I'm like, we gotta really lock down that final to-do list and be like, do not add any more nonsense to this video. Finish it. Move on with your life. So it will be done. When it's done, I will get a better sense of how long it takes to do things whenever I do. But now, I hope that you, at the very least, enjoyed this. The story of a Benny and House lore video that's gonna rock your world that you have not watched yet. The channel is Dinztopia. That is where the video will be. I mean, you should like and subscribe to this one too, but that's gonna be the more important channel. That channel is our destiny. Thank you for watching this ground zero, very beginning of a new era moment, and tonight I am going to an arcade and I'm going to play pinball. Because I need to be a human being who socializes and doesn't just tweak videos until the end of time.
If you have to go out, take a gun in the lab. Everybody knows there's a devil in camp. Ow!